Well, okay then. I am working my way through the list of things this truck needs to be repaired in order to safely drive it. I've got the intake gaskets repaired, and I just put a U-joint in it. So now we're on to the next one, and that's this driver's seat. And it's in rough shape. It's a power seat that only like half the power stuff works on it. And the worst part is that it is no longer firmly anchored to the truck, even though it's bolted in. I can see it's still bolted to the floor. So there's some kind of structural collapse in there from all the heavy weights riding it into the ground. I guess 300 plus thousand miles have just done a number on it. So I'm going to take it in and see what I can do to rehabilitate it. The back of it's okay, but this, I don't know what's happened here, because this cushion is, the whole thing is, when you look at it, it's like not straight anymore. It's like where it should be just kind of uniform. It's like something's happened here, and it's yanked something over this way. So that one doesn't look much better, but it doesn't have the problems this one has. And I think you can still get these covers. I think I say still make them, but they make the covers for these. So I don't think they're leather, they're vinyl, but that doesn't matter to me at all. So main thing is I can't drive it like this, because you get in here going and you're hanging on to the steering wheel to keep from falling over, because this thing, that seat's, like Phil said one time, it's like you keep going like this, like you keep trying to look at your passenger over there if there were one. So anyway, that's not safe and that's not comfortable, and my 50-year-old back just can't handle that. So this has got to come out and be fixed. And somebody, I know some helpful folks will probably say, well, you could just find another seat for it. Well, that's the problem, is that there are no other good seats around here. If you find one that's in decent shape, and I'm not talking about the upholstery, I'm just talking about the things not broken like this one is, but if you find one, it's already gone. So you don't find one. You find where it used to be. You find where it would be if it was there, but it's no longer there because someone has got there before you. And I'm not complaining, because I've had very good luck at the junkyard in the past year or so. But I'm not, right now, I'm not even going to think about replacing it unless it's just totally screwed. But we'll get in there and we'll strip the upholstery off of it and see what we got to work with. Or not. So I'm currently wondering two things. First thing is, was there a piece of 2x4 under the seat? And why does this front bolt have a stack of washers under it an inch thick? Because I felt under there, it's got captive nuts on the body of the truck, and it's just barely threaded into it. So I guess probably the answers are either they just were too lazy to run it in, or they stripped it, or something. So one of those things that just had to find out. Well, it ain't good news. This is about what I was expecting to be wrong here. So this seat frame is totally broken apart. I mean, bad. This thing's in bad shape. It was broken here. I can tell there's like a whole piece of metal missing out of the frame, possibly, and then they tried to weld something here. I'm not sure what was going on there, but. And then check this out. They made this brace here, and then they made another brace and put it in with sheet metal screws. And over here, I'm not sure what to make of this. It almost looks like they took that piece of metal that is ripped out of over here somewhere and turned it around and bolted it back to the seat frame. This side over here looks okay for the most part, but here's what's the scariest part of this. You talk about a heavyweight. It had to be a heavyweight in here. I mean, a heavy weight, because this thing has got a bow in it. But that's not all of it. Check this out. that thing has collapsed, unless I'm mistaken. I could be mistaken, it's fine, but something looks wrong here. That looks like that. Yeah, it may be like, it's not supposed to be like that, but I was going to say, that looks like that's collapsed over that thing, but maybe not. So the good part of this is that this thing comes off. So this, I've dealt with this before. I think when I was working on that Blazer, I had the white one, had the seat problems. So we can just take the frame off of here, this thing off, and deal with its issues separately. Except that I think that it's got the mechanical part here, which is going to have to come. That's kind of tied into the seat. But anyway, enough of the yakking. Let me just go ahead and start fooling with this and see what has to come off and how. This is the connector to the truck. There's a big box on the floor under it that's some sort of electronic deal. Don't know what that is, but it was loose, wired in but loose. So this will have to come loose. Phew. I may have to, like I said, I may have to just replace this because I think this one's too far gone. We'll see. Took off these bolts out that hold this thing to the seat itself, and there's 4, but I only had to take 3 out. That one and that one and that one. I didn't have to bother with the other one, the 4th one, because it's no longer attached. So anyway, I'll lift that frame off there. Let's see. There we go. Look how easy that was. Well, I can replace that, but the problem is here, this is not good, because that is just torn right out. I mean, it can be fixed, but it's got a bend in it. I see. You know, I just would have thought that by now GM would have understood. GM would have understood how to deal with the potential for heavyweights driving their trucks. So, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start kind of disassembling this thing here, and at least partially. Yeah, I think I will. And kind of get a total. Yeah, something's bad here, because see how far up this is shoved up in here. Ew. Yeah, and there's a crack in this one. Well, boy. Okay, well, let me start getting the upholstery off of it. Yeesh. Man, that's pleasant to look at, ain't it? Yuck. Okay, so I just tore this seat right down. I got this, the bottom of the seat bottom assembly disconnected from the top, and it's not real hard to do. You just start peeling your upholstery off. This upholstery has actually got Velcro on the bottom and strips in different places. Those white things are the other half of Velcro. If you look on the seat cushion, it's got those black strips that match to it. So you just start kind of, once you get the hog rings out of it, you just start peeling it from the front towards the back, and you got a hook, plastic channel that's got to be unhooked, and just carefully just peel this off. Of course, you can see this one's wrecked. It's awful. It's disgusting. But so once I got that gave me access to the bolts and stuff that held these 2 halves of the seat together. So you got 2 bolts here you take out on the driver's, on the left side towards the door, and then when you do that, you can kind of move it over. It's got a hinge, and right there is where that would go. And you just kind of work it around a little bit and work it off there. And if it's a power seat, which most of them probably are, you got a vacuum line. This is for the lumbar, I guess, and it goes down that little pouch here, that's where the vacuum pump is for the lumbar, or the air pump rather. I said vacuum, I mean air. And then you just carefully, you can unpeel the foam from it. The foam is not glued. And you just kind of careful with that, because this stuff is probably, I don't think you can get this anymore, so try to save it. But this is not in too bad a condition, aside from the stains on it. But it's got a little chewed place where it's come apart here, but that can be repaired. That's no real big deal. So I have to keep this thing put up somewhere up here, because our cheese eating friends, who are prevalent in the field behind us here, are also foam and stuffing eating friends. So I can look at this thing is just sitting here on the table, and I can look and tell you already it's got something bad wrong with it, because it's not straight at all. See it now, the how did somebody do this? Basically, the entire corner there is missing. But I may be able to fix this. Got a spring moving around here. That spring is supposed to be something is not good there. But I may be able to fix this. But it is really torqued. You know, again, as all that comes back to is this old thing about, you know, if the thing still moves and I can still go somewhere, just don't worry about it. Just keep driving it. That's really bad. So this whole thing here has got a big crack right there, where it's trying to come apart. It's welded there. I don't know if that's something somebody else did, but something's wrong in the back of it back there too, because when you look at it, never mind all the stuff falling out of it, but it's spread right here, and good night. It's got a big crack there. I've got one here. I bet that sure does. Yep. See, look at this. Oh my God. How much did somebody weigh? I don't know if somebody's going to maybe say, well, you're just mean to people that are bigger. Well, you know what? I'm 200 pounds. And I've never done that to a seat. I mean, I've put 160,000+ miles on my Toyota, and the seat is just as good as it was the day I got that car. Of course, now I know it's not really a comparison, but anyway, that's okay. We'll fix what the heavyweights did. So I guess my next, I have to think about how to do this. I don't need a back. I think the back's okay. I'll look at it closer, but I think I'll probably, maybe over the weekend, I got to go back to work this next week, but over the next weekend, Lord willing, I'll tour some junkyards and see if I can find a seat frame, because really all it needs, as far as I can tell right now. And then we'll have to see if the electrical all works. Man, oh man, you would think the seat in a truck would be more heavy duty. Heavyweights, the heavyweights. Well, okay, I can stand here all night and look at it, and I'm going to fix it. So I think I'm going to call it for this evening. I have a big day today. I wrestled with that drive shaft. I had to put it in and out about 3 different times because I screwed something up with the clips, but I got it fixed. And then this is going to have to be dealt with. I hope I can find the upholstery for it. I saw some gray upholstery, but I'm thinking that I did find burgundy also, or ruby, whatever they call this. But yeah, that's That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. We found the structural deficiencies in this seat. All right, well, okay. I will cut her off for now, and I'll go looking for a replacement one of these. If I can't find a replacement, I guess I'll have to fix this, but I really don't want to have to fix it. Hopefully I can find one that's just not been torqued to death. I will see you then, though. Take care. Well, I'm not really one to give up very easily, but I'm pretty well sure that none of this is usable. So this is the seat frame, and I showed this just a while ago, but get a better look at this. How warped this is. So something's broken apart right here, appears to be. And then sight down this edge, it's pretty straight, but then you come around and you start seeing a lot of issues. Now, let's take a look here. But I don't know what shape that is anymore. But you look closer, as I showed you before, it's got a crack in that mount there. That's where the that's where the frame mounts to the other part of the tracks, I believe. And then it's got one here, and it's got a big warp in it right there, and it's got this huge, it doesn't have a brake right there, and that's pulled backwards. It has this huge broken out spot in the frame and a bend, and it's just horrible. I mean, it's totally unusable. You could fix this maybe, but I don't think it's worth it. Then you come over here to the motorized. This is the base. Let's sit back down. This is the base that sits on the floor of the truck, like so, and like so. And the bases aren't that bad. They're pretty level. So they stood up pretty good. They're a little thicker metal than the rest of it. But then you come up here and you really start finding more problems. So this guy here, this is what mounts this part to this other part we just looked at. This rail right here. It's got a hole on each end of it. And so this one moves up here, allow the seat to move back and forth. It's kind of, I guess you could say, hinged. But then we come back here and it's broken from the rear part of it, snapped clean off, and it doesn't even line up anymore. I mean, you can make it, but it's torqued over, and the whole thing is no longer straight. And this one's really good. This is the one I showed earlier. The whole back part of this one, this is the part that's missing over there on the part we just looked at. This big chunk of stuff got ripped out of the seat frame over there, and I've tried to weld it, and it also is snapped off from that. And then over here, I was looking at this, trying to determine if there was a problem on that. I was trying to be considerate and say that it's the way it's supposed to be made, but I don't think so. Look at that big bend in that. And then this end there, again, is not straight at all. It's not level. I'm sure it's supposed to be just like that one. More or less in a straight line. Is not. So it's been rubbing on there. So I don't know. What do you say about this? I mean, how does a seat get so destroyed like this? I mean, I understand the thing has been sat on for 20 plus years, but you know, I've had plenty of other vehicles that have had seats that weren't collapsed like this. I just can't help but think it's heavyweights. I really can't. You know, and this, I mean, I commend somebody for trying to fix something, but that there, I don't know what that is. So, anyway, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna have to go looking for a seat, or the bottom of the seat. I'm not buying the whole thing. The back's okay, and I found the upholstery for it, so I guess I'll get going on that, because I gotta have a seat to be able to even drive it. All right, well, she's dead, Jim. So anyway, I don't know. Again, I'm pretty shocked at this. I didn't know. I mean, I don't know if they're just built. They're too lightly built. I mean, if GM just didn't take into account how big people are in this country, I don't know. But it tore it right up. It's not usable. It's not fixable. It's not worth trying to fix. It's just, you fix this thing, it's like putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. You fix it in one spot. Look at that. You fix it in one spot, and it's going to start cracking in another, so I'm not even wasting my time on that. All right, well, let's go looking for a seat. Guys, all right, so seat cover day has arrived here. So first off, we're inside in the house in here because it's been about 95 degrees for the past 3 days, and it's humid and hot, and I'm not gonna stay outside and sweat my cojones off working on this. So we're inside where it's nice and cool. We got a nice western exposure here, nice natural light going, and we're going to start working on this bottom seat cushion. This is for the Tahoe, of course. You've been following along with this video. And quite a difference here. This is the trashed original seat cover. It was once upon a time, it was leather. It's, I don't know, it's sort of leather now. And this is the new one that's also leather. I believe it's leather. I paid a lot of money for it. I hope it's leather. And then that's the bottom cushion there, and behind me I have the spring frame that this is going to go on. So I'm kind of going to have to work my way through this. I know how this came apart. It's kind of interesting because that cushion there has got Velcro strips in it, and the cushion here has the mate to that sewn into it. So you essentially just kind of Velcro it down, and then you've got some folds you have to make right here on this corner. It's got Velcro there and there, and then same over here. And then of course you're going to hog ring it down on the back and on the side and on the front. And then this last part is the one you have to pull over and clip it. It's going to clip on the side brace. You'll see all that when I get it together. And then we're going to have to make some cutouts. Let's get all put together. We're going to have to cut a little spot out here for the switch assembly, and for the I guess that's a recliner. And this is, they're mostly looks identical, except that this is carpet for no good reason, and this is leather. So anyway, and then back over here is the seat frame, and this is the one that I swapped out in the little video. I think a little portion of that, I just swapped out that side panel. That worked out very well. So this thing is all ready to go. And so it's a little bit hard to explain how this works, but you're looking up at the bottom of this, what's going to be the bottom of the cushion in there, and that upholstery is going to hog ring here and here and here first, and then I know you got holes there, but it is not hog ring there. That's where those plastic channels get pulled over, and that's always kind of difficult to do, but we'll do it. We'll get it. I'm pretty sure that needs to go somewhere else. I don't remember. I think it goes up under there because that's the thing to the bolster. And so the only things really going to need with this, as far as I'm aware of, is I've got my knife, and then I've got this cheapo set of hog ring pliers, which came with the last seat cover kit I bought. And then I thought I was out of hog rings, but I ended up finding the last ones I had. I had kept those, had some extras. But I went ahead and ordered 250 more, so shouldn't run out of them. But anyway, I don't know. I'm really not going to do this on camera because I don't know what I'm doing, and it's going to be a lot of just kind of, sitting around and fitting this together. And about 10 minutes into this, everybody's going to be going to sleep. So I'm just going to do the highlights of it because, as I like to say, it's not my original quote, but you want the baby, but not the labor. So, all right, well, let me get into the labor. Okay, so the first step I took was to put the seat frame. This is one part with the springs in it. You can unbolt it from the pedestal that has the motor in it. But I put it into the cushion and then got that started into the seat cover and hoggering the front end up there with the proper amount of hog rings. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start, like I said earlier, this has Velcro in it, so I'm going to flip this thing over and I'm going to start working the seat cover rearward to get the Velcro where it will latch in there. So we'll do that, and once we do that, I think we can go ahead and probably gonna need to do the rear first, I would say, because the sides here are not, it's not critical about them necessarily to be on first, because they have they're cut out back here. So generally what's just going to happen there is we're going to get them, once this is in place, hog ringed into here, then you'll be able to work with this the sides here and get it where it needs to be, and then latch it with the Velcro that it has there. So shouldn't be a big deal. Just kind of take your time with it, as always with the seat cover, and don't panic if you screw up something with the hog rings. You can always take them back out and try again. So all right, that's what we'll do now. Okay, so I realized a couple things very quickly. The first one is that you don't need to worry about the Velcro thing yet, because with the way these are designed, you can kind of get your hand in there and fool around with stuff and get it lined up after the fact. But the fact is that you have to go ahead and just come back to the back and do this back flap, because it's what's going to line up everything else. And the second thing I realized real quick is I had to remember my old trick I use. Normally you would have an assistant with you, an apprentice upholstery man, but I don't have that because I'm just a one-man upholstery shop. So in order to make this happen here, you have to be able to hold that what do they call that? The lacing or whatever. There's a name for this stuff here, but anyway, you have to hold it down here to get it to where you can hog ring it. And I'm going to tell you now, you can't do it just trying to hold it and hog ring, because I had to, like someone on YouTube described it, I had to put body lean into this to push this all together to get it to work. So I used a pair of channel clocks, carefully did that, and then I'm going to move them over here because this is the same way you just about can't. That's how, you think about, you take one of these off and you don't realize how tight the seat cover actually is. It's very tight on here. So it's not just a matter, it's not like when you go to Walmart and just slip it over and just slip it on. No, you have to work it on there. So, all right, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do the other two hog rings. I may double hog ring all these since it's kind of under a lot of tension there. So, all right. Okay, now the real fun begins. So we get to put the cover on this seat back of that Tahoe. It also applies to a Suburban and Select pickups. I'm sure it's generally the same. So this is more involved because there's things we have to remove, and I don't really know how they would come off yet. We'll have to figure it out. But I don't see any hog rings on this. This cover looks like it just kind of goes around and clips to itself. So we'll figure that out as we go. But I've got the bottom seat cushion, which you already saw me work on, and then I've got the rear, and I got an armrest. I did not get a headrest because the headrest is usable, so I'm not messing with that. So anyway, the first thing that we need to do here is we're going to have to pull out this headrest, and it's not easy enough, you know, they didn't give you just a little push button here and just take it out with. So there's a little hole here and here. So I'm presuming it's got a little clip on it, and we just take something. This is a thing you blow up a basketball with, but it fits perfectly. So all right, pull that. Oh, what do you know? One more time here. Come out. There it is. Whee! It's not too bad a condition. It's got little places where it's wearing, the color's coming off a little bit. But you know what? I think they still make some of that polish that you can use to kind of cover that in. They used to. I don't know if they still do. I think I saw some on Amazon someplace. So anyway, that leaves us with these clips here. Okay, so if I push a little bit, it moves. But that's not really doing much. So, I say. It's cooled off a little bit. We got a pretty good rainstorm. So, okay, well, I have no idea how this is going to come off. So let me work around with this a little bit off camera, and I'll bring you back, and we can figure this out without boring you to death. Okay, so it wasn't any big deal to get this off. It just clips on. It's got a couple clips kind of here and here. So you just kind of push this upholstery down, and you can get a little small flat blade in here. Just kind of carefully work it around beside it and clip these right off. That's all you got to do. But that's not all of it. The hole that they made for this, whatever this retainer and lock assembly and all that head, wherever I went, that headrest slides down in the guts of the seat. Evidently it goes on after the upholstery is put on, because it's great, because this thing moves around a little bit, but the hole here is nowhere near, that I can tell, is nowhere near large enough to deal with that. So we're going to hold off on that for a minute. The next thing is I have to figure out how this armrest comes off. Make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Or seeing what you need to see. Yeah. Back it just a little. Right. Yeah. Alright, so this armrest, I can't destroy this armrest because I'm going to have to use part of it to rebuild the new one. I think if I don't just end up having to put it over the old one, I'm not sure yet. I haven't trial fit because I got this off. But it's got a hinge on it, and I'm trying to obviously go from down. So I'm kind of trying to work my finger in here without hurting myself to see if I feel some sort of retaining assembly. Okay, I don't, so, yeah. All right, so I think what's going to have to happen at this point is we're just going to have to break into this thing and see what's that. Now, you got to don't go Hulk Hogan on this thing because the thing looks like it's bent a little bit. Boy, that's a surprise, isn't it? This thing here. So, it looks to me like this, what we're gonna need to do first, I was wondering how this went together because I couldn't remember, because it just took this off and set it to the side. I wasn't even worried about it. But it's got another one of these plastic channels, and there's two of them actually. So, let's just kind of probably need a better screwdriver than this, but maybe not. Okay, so I just got to pop this thing loose. Ooh, it's like a can of biscuits, wasn't it? Uh-oh, got a number here. 04, something that looks like a crown, and 8. Okay, this looks like we got a Velcro strip here. Yes, it is. It's a Velcro strip. Another Velcro strip going off into the depths somewhere. Alright, so my objective here is to peel this off. I'll tell you now, I think this board has to come out. For sure, so I'm just going to kind of, let me test it a little bit to see how it wants to come out. Ow, not really. Oh, got something. Oh, it's got clips on it. Okay. So it's got like a, I don't think that new cover's made the same way. So it's got like some metal clips in here, which is too tough to do with my fingers, but oh, okay. Okay, before I tear something up, we've got screws in there. How are we supposed to get into that? Okay, maybe. Okay, so I should have seen that. See, it's doing stuff like that that makes me realize that's why I don't own my own shop, or I don't work at a dealership. I get too far into something and assume that I know what I'm doing here. Okay, 2 screws. And what is it I get on to feel about? Don't pull on it. Don't yank on it. Don't just give it a yank. Don't tear it. Don't tear it up. Well, I guess if it's any, see, there it comes out. So it's a little, it's got that deal here, and it's a little bit mangled there, but we'll fix it. Have to, but the thing is, the new seat cover does not have this net on it and all that, so we'll have to see what happens with that. It's bad news, it's bad news. We'll just do it. Okay, so this camera's still on. Yep. All right, so there's more of this kind of wow. Yeah, this thing got kind of actually bent this a little bit. Okay, so there's more of this clips and stuff going on. So we got a clip here. Just clip it. Yeah, it's a back bolster. I thought that was. I'll take that all the way out. Alright, so generally what I do now is I just start kind of peeling it so I can get access to things. Okay, again, it's Velcro. You'll hear a ripping noise, and it's the Velcro. Need to go up a little bit. Right. Okay. The big question mark is still this armrest. But this is like the other base. You just gotta kind of peel this stuff off here. That's the Velcro that's in the cushion. So usually, if you're careful, you can peel the upholstery and the foam all of it off the seat frame. Okay. Oh, okay. I see something here I need to do right now, I think. Before I go on. And let's do that seat back. Alright, so we're thinking about how to get this these tubes out. Right here, I'll tell you. Remind me that the spring thing goes towards the front. But looks to me like that maybe that will slide out once we squeeze these things here. See there? Squeak, 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 squeak. See there, you just, yeah. Let's try that. Haha, look at that. Here it comes. That's all there is to it. There it is. Get out of the way. Okay, so I don't know that there's any set way you're supposed to do this, but as I said, be careful with this. And find yourself where it goes to. I'm just kind of, and I'm not happy about this armrest situation, but uh-oh, find a hog ring. Oh no, you're kidding me, really? Let me see this right there. That's strange. Well, that's gonna be fun. Okay, well, there's another challenge. Looks like. Okay, so what's up now is that not that. Okay, so peeling these off, and then I got to the center right here, and this the center of this seat upholstery on the back rest here is actually hog ringed in. So there you are. So I'm gonna get those loose, and then I'll continue peeling that thing off there. All right, the next day, as promised, and through extensive testing, I've determined that this board needed to go back on here, because the way the new seat cover is made, there is no board, and you just have sort of a sail thing going here. I think just put your hand on it, just kind of into the center of the seat. We don't want that, so I believe this is going to work. So I took that net off, that cargo net. I just cut it away from the other side, and I just put this back on. And one thing to remember again when you're dealing with this thing, if you're going to take all this, which like I said, you have to get it out of here. But just remember, there's 2 screws in here, and here, and then you just pull it and just pull it out. You don't have to deal with all that pulling on that crap that I was doing, because I just didn't know how to do it. So I had to do a little bit of repairs to this thing, but I think we're good. And I'm going to go ahead and get ready to put the seat cover on it, because I was looking at the new seat cover, and I also had to straighten out this hinge here too. I was looking at the new seat cover, and there's no provision for these hog rings. What they do is they give you some, like, there's Velcro strips on, or I was trying to think of that word, listing, I guess you could say, but I don't see any, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. I may have to evaluate this, see if I like the way it works out, but don't really have to do anything except get put on, I think, and then we're going to have to do some cutting out for our armrest stuff, and for up here also. So when you cut these things, make sure you cut a lot smaller than you need at first, and it's easier to take more material off and put it back in. So you know all about that. All right, well, let's get on to that. Time's a wasting. Anyway, the worst camera in the world. Don't know how much you got of that, but as I was saying, I was pulling this down. This thing without this deal here, it kind of bunches out. So I'm going to tell the company I bought this from that they didn't make it right. There you go. It's supposed to have the ability to hot run it. So, anyway, it's up to you whether you want to go to that effort. I'm not going to worry about it. So, alright, so I'm going to work on getting the bottom of this. Get back up. This is your lumbar. So we just got to wrap it around. Catch here, hopefully. That's it. And what I do to get this Velcro to seat, I'm sure we're not throwing this off. Okay, here we go. Like I said, you need to be aware of this. You need to either make sure that the cover you get has the lacing or the whatever the listing is in here for those hog rings to go in. This one didn't. So if you have an old truck, so I would advise that you take your old seat cover off first and look and see how it's set up, and that way you can give the company some notice. But I'm pretty well satisfied. This looks pretty decent. I mean, shoot. Anything's an improvement over that old one. So it'll settle in a little bit. Gotta do our holes for our, whatchamacallits. So we'll be doing that. So I can feel them right here and right here. Headrest on it. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just make a, I'll take something and make a little, you can't even see that. Sorry, I was talking about our headrest. Gonna make holes for the headrest. And so we're gonna make a little, I can feel the indentations about right here and right here. So don't go wild cutting stuff yet. Just go ahead and make like a little, take like a pick or something and just make probe a hole right there, a little small one. And that way you can, you know, you just take your knife and just kind of make a little X, a little bit more to get your stuff to fit back in. Got to put the inserts in to hold in the headrest, and they're just going to pop in. Once you get the hole made, slip them down in there, seat them, pop them in. Got the trim, goes on. And then after that, you're ready to put the two parts of the seat back together. So then we'll deal with the armrest probably a little bit separately because I haven't decided how I'm going to do that one yet. So, all right, guys, sorry about these camera malfunctions. I don't know. I've been shopping for a camera, and there's so many choices without going too nuts. I mean, I don't have $1,000 to invest on a camera, and I wouldn't even if I did. I mean, I like doing YouTube videos. This camera, this Galaxy S6, it does very good video actually. Without, you know, it doesn't have much of a zoom capability, but it does close-ups well and stuff like that. I'm happy with the quality. It even will do 4K, I believe. But anyway, back to the camera thing. I'm just looking, and man, I mean, you either, you know, for the realm of affordability, I mean, I know some folks have been saying that they found this camera there and this camera there. Man, I wish I was that lucky. I've never, maybe it's where I'm at, but I've never found a decent video camera anywhere like that. But one thing too is I don't go to yard sales very much. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to drag myself away on a Saturday morning to go do stuff like that. But hopefully get this car out of here and finished up, and the two cars I'm working on, and I'm gonna cool it on car stuff, you know, big projects. Just, I'm gonna do some small stuff, and maybe we'll get into doing some of that. So anyway, enough yakking on that. I'll bring you back. I think we're gonna go ahead and continue on this and get this seat together and get it in because I'm ready to go driving. Put that thing in if we ever take this all out. Snap. Snap. And I know this looks just like a inflator for a basketball or something, or a football, but actually, again, what it is, it's a GM headrest release tool. You can find these in any sporting goods department. All right, guys, so I think that's going to get it for the back side of it. I've got this kind of cut out for the armrest and all that. It's quite a difference between the new one and the old one, isn't there? And one thing too, just make sure when you're doing this kind of stuff that you have a pair of scissors. This is a pair of scissors. This looks like a pair of scissors. This is not a pair of scissors. This is a waste of money. Just a little heads up, to get this seat back bolted in, there's a bolt here and here. It's going to be necessary to either leave this upholstery unclipped or go back and unclip it. I had to go back and unclip it because I didn't realize that. So, and then you got a thing there that you're going to have to make a hole for, a little lever, but that should get it. Just going to carefully clip this thing back together now. Just want to give you a warning, because you know me, I like giving warnings. Okay, one last update before this goes in. So everything's together. Got this handle put on and all that stuff there put on. Looks good. Link on there, but get that out of that. So anyway, looking good. So I put these seat stands that go at the very bottom. You're looking at it upside down, but they sit on the floor. This is what the bolts for the hold the seat in go through on the truck. So normally these are painted some kind of sort of a matching color to this maroon, but in the interest of not chasing some kind of paint around that probably doesn't even exist anymore and can't get it, don't know where to get it, I just painted these nice semi-gloss black, and we're going to go with that. So the last thing to do is put on the piece of trim that goes out here, which actually we'll do that later because you can't get to the bolts, to the seat bolts with it. But if you get confused about which of these tracks goes where, these stands, the older ones, the original ones wouldn't come off like that, but these bolt on. The later ones, you can take those and remove them. So to keep from getting them switched up, just remember that they offset. If you're looking at the bottom of the seat and this is the back of the seat, you're looking forward, they offset to the driver's side out here this way, and they slope up. And a dead giveaway is that the outer one, for the whichever side of the seat, the outer side of the seat where the controls are and all that, and the door opens, is going to have the screw holes for the piece of trim that goes on it. There's one there too. So anyway, that's how you know how to orient those. Because I had a lot of trouble with this when I'm working on this seat upside down. I kept having problems remember which way it's forward, rear, and all that. So I actually had to reconnect this seat up to the, when I was putting the switch in, I had to reconnect the seat to the power and operate it with the switches to make sure that when I pushed the seat forward, the switch forward, that it actually went the right direction. It's kind of, it can be a little bit confusing. So okay, I think I'm gonna break for lunch, and then I'm gonna put this thing in. I'll see you out there. Okay, all finished except for the armrest. So pretty happy with this. I think it looks pretty good, especially compared to that one. So the seat works. So I don't have the lumbar working yet because there was some interchangeability issues with the lumbar. Now this is the later model seat base with motors and all that, and somewhere along the way they decided that they had to change that arrangement between the year models, between it being like this has the old style switch has a I guess the deflate comes through the switch and then goes somewhere else or whatever. Anyway, it's got a vacuum line leads to the switch on the old one, the original, and the newer one doesn't have that made into the switch. It just has a switch with 3 wires going to it. So they couldn't make it easy enough that you just would swap out the switches. I mean, use the newer switch in the older bezel here. Can't do that. That's too hard. So what they did was they changed it so the old switch and the new switch are not compatible with each other as far as going in here. So the old switch has to fit in this old bezel. The new switch won't fit in it. It won't clip in. So that thing is, I've got all the parts saved for it And what I'll do is I'm going to look for the right maroon bezel for a later model, and that should just cure all that. Otherwise, I'd have to go in and do a bunch of wiring, and I'm not doing that. So anyway, I like this. This looks a lot better than it was. Man, that was terrible. You couldn't drive this thing like that. I can't believe somebody would drive a vehicle with a seat that busted. And the worst part about it, the bad part about it, is that seat had already been repaired once, poorly, but anyway, yeah, I ain't even gotten in this. Oh, nice. All right. Yeah, right. The backrest. Yep. Very good. Yeah, I'm happy with this. This is great. So the cost on this to do this seat was right at $400 total, because I had to buy another parts to another seat to fix this one. The upholstery was about $350, so that one should only take $350 to do that one. I don't know how soon I'm going to do that. I really don't know how soon I ever do this. May not even do this for a long time, if ever. But that one needs to be fixed. But this just changes the whole look of this. It goes from, it's there. You can't overstate the importance of good upholstery in a vehicle to make it look, to take it from looking like it's a redneck junker, which it was, to looking like it's a respectable vehicle. So I've got more to do. I got to work on this door panel. It's a little loose in places, and this is missing, and this is missing. They all break, and then some stuff's not working. I think the locks are not working and all that, but I don't care about that. I mean, as far as being a problem, I'll just fix it. That's the motto you get into with this stuff. Just fix it. If you have a problem, apply money to it. It seems to go away pretty quickly. Thanks for watching, everybody, and if you got any questions, feel free to ask. But I don't know anything about the later models like the 2000s on up, and how their seats are and how they operate and how they interchange. So I'm afraid I'm not going to be much help on that. So it's strictly going to be on these. So, and like I said, this seat base and everything, the power assembly, what I call it, the one part that's got the motors, it did come out of a 2000 Escalade. So if you have a newer one, it will work on the old one. It plugged right in, operates off the truck just fine, just like the old one did. The only thing is that lumbar inflator, that bladder, did not interface with my whatchamacallit. I mean, it works. If I hook it up, it'll work, but the switch won't stay in in that little side panel. So what an idiot thing to do. Can you believe there's somebody at GM or their supplier was actually assigned a responsibility to look at the clips on that and see if they needed to change the way that lumbar switch clipped in from 1995 through 2000. At some point, they decided that they needed to pay somebody to look at that and say, well, okay, maybe we'll just change this from 4 small clips to 2 large clips. I wish I had that job. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one. We'll see what else we can break around here. Have a good one.